And so each year that accreditation is renewed and it's accredited by Ernst Young. So I mean it's quite robust and it's always up to date. I mean we use the official measurement techniques, let's say. So there are two parts, let's say. One is for real time and the other one is audience overview. For real time, we have the data which is updated every 5 minutes. So every 5 minutes we have a different figure of concurrent listeners. Now I'm showing you an example of a Spanish station, and well, now there are 16,800 listeners. Actually, you can see here, well, the graph per 10 minutes, the graph per 10 minutes. But actually, if you want to have the information per 5 minutes block, you can come here and let's see, you want to know your audience at 10:25. So you will go to 10:25, so 13,605. And you can see this, well, any day. Let's say Wednesday, April 5th. So you will go to this day at 7:05 p.m., this figure, etc. For every day, you will have the average for that day, the highest point of that day, the highest metric of that day, and the lowest one. You can also have the figure the graph during the last 8 days. Actually, here Thursday and Friday were days off, so you can notice that in the audience of the station that was quite lower than Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday. Also the weekend, and now we are working again. Actually, and you can see this information per 90 days blocks. Okay, so you have all this information. This is for real-time listenership. Also, if you had more than one station, you could check the market and you will have more information, such as a broken down of your audience per different stations, group of stations. So if you're planning to do that, I can show it to you. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. So, yes, you have the definition of the metrics. You also have active sessions, session starts, and average time spent listening, which means, well, what is the average duration of sessions. And you will have all this information. In this case, the information you're seeing here is from March 25th to April 7th. You can have that information per period of 1 hour. So, between 1 and 2 a.m. of April 1st, the number of average active sessions was this, total listening hours, etc. You can also select different day parts. So let's say you're interested in the morning drive day part from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Well, you can have that information too. And this way you can study your audience, and this is actually very interesting for both the editorial team to manage the programming, the content, etc., and for sales team. This way, for example, by checking the average active sessions, you can know more or less how much people will get the message of an advertiser. We have a way of trafficking ads, which is, traffic this ad to everyone, so you can have this information. You can know how many people listen to that ad. Okay, we have a different. Actually, we have two interfaces for analytics. This one is Webcast Matrix, the one which is accredited by the MRC, and it has some analysis over the data. For example, we filter out the bots traffic, spiders, etc., and that's the difference between gross and net. Yeah. Well, there are different things that are done. One is the IAB has a list of bots, of spiders, IPs, etc. So we filter out the traffic coming from those IPs. Yes. Also, we filter out the sessions which are shorter than 1 minute, because in a very high percentage that is caused by spiders, bots, etc., which open the different URLs they see in a web page and they start the connection. When they see that it's streaming, they just cut it. So we filter out those sessions. Also, we have a document explaining all the analysis method, which it's public in our website, but I can send it to you so that you can see it in detail. Okay. This is one of the interfaces, which is Webcast Matrix. We have some clients which are only clients for Webcast Matrix. We read their logs, and we have a measurement division business unit, and we have some clients which are clients only for this. Also, if you stream with us, we have a different user interface. We are working to bring to this interface, to this system, all the things we have here, since this is a bit older, let's say. But I want to show you, for example, the geographic distribution. So I'm going to open a station to show you the example from Spain. Okay. So, well, there are some reports you can generate here. Some of the data is similar to the data here, but there are some reports that you still need to generate from here. For example, geographic distribution. So you can have the geographic distribution during last week of this station per country, for example. So you will generate the graph and you will obtain, well, from which countries the people who listen to that station were connected. Just let's give it some seconds. Okay. Okay, so you see, well, you can have actually this information as a graph, also as a table that, well, you can export, for example, in an Excel. Yes. Yeah, you will have both actually. Yes. Yeah. Actually, yes, there are clients not streaming with us can have only Webcast Matrix. There are different ways to integrate, but if you stream with us, you will have both of them. Yeah. Yes, what we usually do is reading their logs. So I'd ask you for a sample of those logs I'd study them with my team, but we usually need, well, for each session, at what time it started, at which time it ended, the IP, user agent, etc. Yes, usually that information. And we read those logs periodically. We read those logs periodically, and yes, we can populate this tool, let's say. And not only populate, but also analyze, well, to filter out sessions shorter than 1 minute, to filter out speeders, traffic, etc. Oh, okay. No logs. Okay. Okay. So, well, that's one option. If not, yes, we will provide this information, geographic distribution, or for example, syndication report, which is a report that will explain where your connections come from. because in some cases, what we've seen is that usually the traffic coming from aggregators is higher than what publishers could expect. Actually, we have this tool since if you send a specific URL for those aggregators, we can measure them. We can measure them and display this information here. Exact. Yes, exactly. So yes, actually, yes, and this is well. This actually gives you actually all the power you want to have to well to measure your audience, to know where they are connecting from, how many are connecting, and to study trends, etc. Okay, good. So coming back to your question of Telos, let me open that document actually. Okay. Okay. Actually, what we need, I mean, our regular setup is this one. I guess you're not the technical guy, correct? So okay. So I'll go quick over this. But basically, what we need is a computer in your facilities, and in that computer we will get two things. One is the audio we will get the audio to be able to stream it, and other one optionally we will get metadata. This metadata, we use it for two things. One is to display in the players no playing information, such as the track name, artist name, etc. Also, we have a song history API, for example, so you can obtain from an API the last songs which were played in your stations. This is yes. Okay. So you have the automation system online, correct? Yes. Okay. So in for this there are two ways. We have two ways of work. One is this one. Actually, in one we need to have a computer in your facilities in which the audio is obtained, and the other one is actually a different one. In the other one we provide the playout system, let's say, and in the playout system is where the solutions where you will upload your songs, you will the solution the hosts will use to speak, etc. If using this one, everything will be online, so you don't need to have anything in your station, in your facilities. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Yes. Ec- Okay. Okay. Actually, I mean, when you're using this Zipstream R2, you don't need to have a computer. Since if you're using this one, this already speaks with our CDN. So if what you have is Zipstream R1, what we need is a sound card. Sorry? Yes, so we need a sound card to obtain the audio from the Zipstream R1. So what we will do is, we will use the sound card to get the audio. You need to provide that audio. So you need to provide the audio that you want us to stream. And in that computer, you will need to plug in a sound card, which can be this, or a different one. Actually, Yes. If you want, you can check with us, but basically the card needs to be seen in Windows as direct show, and most of them are. So as far as you have an audio card which can be seen in Windows as direct show, and you can provide the audio to that card, you don't need this. You don't need the zip stream. Okay, good. Okay, yes, are you interested in monetizing the station with advertising? Okay. Yes, because I guess you don't have direct sales, correct? You will be interested in the exchange, in the open exchange. Okay. Okay, good. So for well, let me go back to this. Okay, so I was speaking about metadata. The other goal of having metadata is the other goal of having metadata is that you will usually what we do for inserting ads within the stream is that we replace some content from the original stream. So you need to inform us which content we can replace. So by the metadata, you will trigger that replacement. Let's say you will. This is something maybe it's better to discuss with the person with your technical guys, but you need to send a TCP command, for example, or to write a file in which you tell us now start doing replacement, and we will remove the content you're sending us, and we will insert digital ads. Yes, correct. Exactly correct. So, okay, good. So now for inserting ads, as you say, there are two different use cases. In one use case, you will actually we have them both. In one of them, I mean, your sellers are this one and are using Tap. In Tap, well, Tap is this is user interface. It comes from Triton advertising platform. So in Tap, what you will do is create a new insertion order. So let's say, well, you have pre-entered the advertisers into the system. I'm using one, which is one for my demos. Then you will set up a campaign, let's say Scotiabank, April 217th demo. The dates for that campaign from 17 to 30, for example, and then traffic type. In traffic type, there are different traffic types. One is in-stream. It's the one we're discussing now. And there are also two other traffic types, on-demand and podcast. For actually the integration which is required for these two are different, so I can explain it to you later, since you told me that you also have podcast content, correct? Okay. And okay, we will go to that afterwards, okay, when we finish in-stream part. Okay. So okay, in stream, you can do two things: pre-roll ad and well, three things. Pre-roll ad is the ad that listeners will get when they click on play. So if you have pre-roll campaigns, the listener will click on play and he will get an ad. Mid-roll ad are the ads that we will replace. When the content you mark to be replaced, we will replace that content with mid-roll ads. And mid-roll spot, this is a campaign you can run in which everyone listening to the stream at some moment will get this same ad. So this is, I mean, the goal of this way of trafficking ads is that it replicates the traditional radio way of advertising in which everyone gets an ad. So this, I mean, we created this because some traditional broadcasters wanted to have a similar way as they work in broadcast. But usually in digital, the most common ones are pre-roll and mid-roll, in which we measure impressions. But not everyone needs to be listening, because actually in digital you want to do targeting, etc. So let's say pre-roll ad. Then you will need to enter the impressions goal. It can be, you can enter a goal, let's say, for example, 30,000, or you can also say no goal. If you set no goal, the campaign will end when it reaches the end date, but it won't stop at certain number of impressions. This tool, I mean, one of the goals of TAP is that all the campaigns reach their goal, their impressions goal. So by default, the campaigns with an impressions goal will have a higher priority than the campaigns without an impressions goal. In any case, if you start working with TAP, we have a lot of training resources, videos, documents, etc. that explain all this. Okay, then you will enter the CPM of the insertion order and the day part. The day part is yes, at what times you want the campaign to deliver. So let's imagine an advertiser who wants to promote a breakfast place. So in this case, you may be interested in only delivering this campaign on the morning drive shift from 6 to 10, Monday to Friday. You can do it. If you want to use we have some day parts pre-entered into the system, but if you want to do from 6 to 9, for example, which is not pre-entered into the system, you can do it custom one, and that's all. By default, I mean, the most usual one is Monday, Sunday, 12 to 12. That means anytime. Then, well, you will enter the creative. For in-stream, you can do audio only. You can also do audio with banners. Something important is that the banners will only be displayed in the players which can display banners. So usually if you build your players, apps, etc. using our SDK, you will be able to display banners, but some aggregators that they're third-party players, in some cases they cannot display third-party banners. So banners it's a nice thing to have in your players, but well, it's important that your advertisers know that not everyone will get the banner. So well, but let's, as a sample, let's traffic this with banners. So you will click on assign creative. You can use one creative which is already in your library, or you can upload a new one. If you want to see how to upload a new one, just tell me and I'll show it to you. Actually, when you select the ad, you can pre-check it. So you can check that the audio is the audio you want to have, and also that the banner is the one you want to traffic, just to make sure. Okay, so you will assign the creative. Then you need to select the station. In your case, as you only have one station, so it will be easy. But let's imagine you add new stations to your system. So well, you will select here to if you want to deliver this campaign to the 2 stations or only to one of them. And if you have many stations, you can organize them by markets. Okay. And targeting, you can set some targeting rules. For example, let's imagine you want this campaign to be only delivered to people listening from Cape Town. So you will do Cape Town. If you do include, this campaign will only be delivered to people listening from Cape Town. You can also do exclude. If you do like this campaign will be delivered to everyone except people listening from Cape Town. Yes. There are different rules you can apply, such as country, for example, state or province. You can also do user agent targeting rules. For example, mobile phone. You want to target a campaign to people listening only from mobile phone. So you will select mobile device here, and you will traffic this campaign, and only people listening from a mobile device will get it. Also, well, there are some other rules such as demographic, custom tag. As an important thing is that if you have first-party data, for example, if your users need to register or can register and provide some information about themselves, for example, what are your imagine you ask in the sign in the login for hobbies, and your listeners tell you that their hobbies, and you want to target a campaign only to people who like sports. So you need to send that information as in the stream request, but once you've sent it, you can add it here. So, for example, this campaign will be delivered only to people who like cinema or sport. Yes. And well, there are other targeting rules. They are well a bit more complex. I can explain to you if you want to, but basically you have advanced targeting possibilities with this platform, depending on different things you may want to check. Okay, and well, once you've done this, you will create the insertion order. You will create the insertion order. This is well because depending on your workflow, actually there is a previous stage in the workflow which is a proposal. This way you can edit this campaign, you can add a new flight, for example. A new flight is well to add complexity to the campaign. If in case you want to have, for example, a creative during the morning and a creative during the afternoon, you will add a day part. And each day part will have one different ad, etc. You can apply different rules so that you have one campaign, but with the customization you want to have. Once you're okay with it, you will submit the order, and it will become a campaign. So you cannot edit the order. You cannot edit the order anymore, but it's a campaign which is delivering. Yes, you can edit different things. You can use frequency caps, for example. In this case, this is the frequency cap of the campaign. So this means that the second a listener will get the second ad of this campaign only after 5 minutes after the previous one. This is, well, because in some cases, advertisers don't want that listeners get their ads again and again and again. So if you said, well, 60 minutes, for example, you will be sure that the second ad will only appear after 1 hour after the first one. Something to take care is this protects advertisers, but also limits impressions. So you see, it's a restriction for ads, so you will have less impressions. Discard. Okay, yes. There are different frequency caps you can apply depending on your advertiser's interest. There is a frequency cap for campaign, the one we spoke about. There is a frequency cap for an ad. I mean, you can have one campaign with 2 ads. Each ad can have a frequency cap, but not the campaign. So you can have the first ad of the campaign and 20 seconds after the second ad of the campaign. Well, you can do that. Also for advertiser or even for industry, there is actually a frequency cap of an industry frequency cap. This means that imagine a bank. Usually advertisers in industries don't want their ads to appear too close to ads from their competitors. You can think about Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So by industry, when creating the advertiser, you will select that it's an advertiser belonging to beverages industry. So by default, there will be a frequency cap of 2 minutes. So the same listener won't get another ad of beverages until 2 minutes after the first one. Okay, so actually, well, there are different things you can manage when setting up your campaigns. You can also manage the pacing. There are two options of pacing. One is event pacing. Event pacing means that the system will schedule the campaign so that there are impressions all the days of the campaign. In this case, we have 13 days of campaign from 17th to 30. Let's imagine you have an impressions goal of 130,000. So the system will try to deliver 10,000 impressions each date. But if you want, let's imagine that you plan to have a new campaign within 3 days, for example. So what you want is that this campaign goes as fast as possible. So you need to select fastest possible. This way, yes, this way the campaign, for in each ad opportunity you have, you will have an ad from this campaign delivered if you select as fast as possible. So it's possible that the last days of the campaign there are not more impressions to deliver because you have reached the goal. But well, it's something you can use in this case. For example, if you plan to have a new campaign within 3 days, since the system can manage different campaigns for the same inventory during the same days. Actually, you can also manage different CPMs. You can override the CPM of this campaign because the CPM is used by Tab to determine the priority of campaigns. So if all the campaigns are expected to reach their goal, the system will try to deliver the one with the higher CPM. So you can override the real CPM in order if you want to modify the priority of a campaign. One example is an advertiser who pays a bit low CPM but wants to deliver a lot of impressions and it's a very important client for you. So maybe the CPM will be low, will be €2, for example, but you will say the system, okay, act as if the CPM is €7. So that way, for the system, the campaign will be more important. Okay. Well, just interrupt me if you have questions at any moment because I'm speaking a lot. Okay. Something which is useful is that when speaking with advertisers, usually advertisers will want to have an idea of how many impressions you can deliver for certain ad. So what you can do is an inventory availability forecast report. By doing this, you will select the dates, you will select the traffic type, which is in stream, you will select the duration of the ad, let's say 20 seconds, the day part. This is quite similar to what we've done before. You will enter a specific station. In this case, let me check. Use this one. This is a station in Madrid, in Spain. You can set some targeting criteria and you will click on submit. So the system here will tell you how many impressions you have available for those dates in that day part and for that inventory, which is pre-roll ad. Yes. Okay, this means that this is this is used now in the exchange in A2X, and the goal of that is that the people buying inventory in A2X use some tools called DSPs, demand-side platforms. And in DSPs, they can target ads to specific groups. For example, between 20 and 40 years old, or people interested in sports, or people who visit a website for buying apartments in Cape Town during the last month, things like that. So if your impressions are addressable, the buyers who want to target those people will be able to target your listeners. So the way of making your impressions addressable depends on the player you're using. By using our SDKs, your impressions will be addressable. Well, you need to do it, but it's quite easy. It's just saying, yes, I want to do cookie synchronization in the case of web players, or I want to share the device advertising ID in the case of mobile apps. So it's easy. Let's imagine you're now using a different player, a third-party player, and you want to keep it using. Well, you can keep using it, and we will provide URLs for you to play the stream. But if you want your impressions to be addressable, you need to provide you need to do cookie sync, which is a script which you do before the streaming connection so that the cookies of that listener are, let's say, synchronized with the different DMPs, data management platforms out there. And that way your impressions become addressable. Okay, so well, this is the tool you will use to traffic your campaigns. The buyers out there, the buyers in the exchange in A2X will use those buyers will use different DSPs. So well, there are different DSPs out there, such as the Trade Desk, AppNexus, etc. So we are connected to them. So you won't see that you won't see that sorry the user interfaces. What you will see is, I mean, you can generate the affidavits report in Tab. This is the report, which is the proof of performance, let's say. So by selecting some dates, okay, you will select a specific station. In this case, let me show you this one. You can break down actually the campaign per day, per hour, or even per 5 minutes block, let's say per day. And the system Tab will tell you how many impressions there were for this station during those days. In this case, you see two rows. On the month CPM were the impressions traffic through Tab, through this tool. So there were, well, almost 200,000 impressions and 10,000 clicks almost on the companion banner. In the on-demand CPO, this is the exchange. This is because this is opportunities. All come from opportunity. So these are opportunities which were sent to the exchange, and they had 40,000 impressions coming from the exchange. Yes. Well, actually, this is Oscar who will be able to tell you more about them since I haven't worked with them. So Oscar can tell you a bit more about them. But basically, yes, you can follow actually different strategies. By default, what we do is that first, I mean, the first place is for your direct sold campaigns, and if but if there are still ad positions, ad opportunities, and your direct sell campaigns are over, or there are frequency caps or something, so that there isn't an ad traffic by you available, we will deliver an ad from the exchange. This is one possibility, but we can also, some clients, for example, want to deliver only direct sell campaigns in your country, in South Africa, and only campaigns from A2X out of South Africa. Well, this is, you can follow the strategy you want to follow. Something we also provide is in A2X we will send you an weekly report and by email, and in that report you will see the different brands and advertisers that were displayed in your station. So you can actually see, for example, Coca-Cola delivered 10,000 impressions last week on my inventory. So if you want to, you can go talk to them and try to make them a direct client for you. So we are very transparent. Well, I mean, see, we are, let's say, transparent in that, and we will provide you the information. If you want to sell them, it's you who needs to go to them and to sell them. But yes, we are transparent in regarding which ads were playing in your inventory, how many times, etc. And actually, which was the CPM. There are floor prices, so you can configure actually different floor prices so that there aren't ads sell in your inventory cheaper than X, but actually but in A2X there is a bidding system, a bidding mechanism. so that in those reports that we send you weekly, we send you the average CPM, for example, from the different brands or the different advertisers. Yes, actually, for audio, Google has a DSP, a demand platform called DBM, Double Click Bid Manager, and it's one of the DSPs we are integrating with A2X, so that from DBM it will be possible to buy A2X inventory. This I hope it to be ready before summer. And well, actually, what I told you, most of what I told you is about in stream, more or less. What's I mean, but we can also deliver ads to podcast and to on-demand content. Usually, the difference is that podcast is downloaded, so in podcast we stitch ads within the podcast. In on-demand, ads are displayed online. So, for example, if you have, because let me ask you something. Uh, in terms of audience, what's more important for you, your streaming station or your podcast? Okay. Actually, I think something important for you now is that we can also deliver ads in podcasts and in the website, let's say. So when the user clicks on play, an ad before the content played online. So this is on demand. So this is a different integration in podcast. What we do is, let me just show you. In podcast, what we do is that the publisher needs to modify the URLs of the audios. So, and that URL will point to Triton. So what we do is picking up the original file from the CMS of the publisher, from the CMS of Touch Radio, and we stitch ads. So depending on the listener and on the day, we stitch dynamically the ads. So let's imagine, well, you have a listener from Cape Town today from a mobile device. If there is a campaign targeted to those features, we will stitch ads to that listener. In podcast, we can deliver pre-roll, post-roll, and also mid-roll. The publisher needs to indicate for it so in which positions we can deliver the mid-roll, since what we want what we don't want to do is cutting the content. So it's the publisher who needs to say, okay, I want the ad to be delivered in the minute 10, second 25, for example, and we will stitch it at that time. So yes, something important is that podcasts are not connected to A2X. Because, well, in podcast, what is confirmed is not the impression of the ad, is the download of the content. So most DSPs out there don't accept this, don't accept not knowing if it's download or if it's impression. So podcast is not connected to A2X. But on demand, yes. So this usually, if your podcasts are streamed online, do you know if this is the case? The podcast of Touch Radio can also be listened in Touch Radio website. Okay, well, so if the podcasts can be listened online, then, well, it needs to be integrated on demand. So in on demand, you ask the player or the application will ask for an ad. We will deliver the ad. So it will be an impression. The ad can come from A2X and it's done online and the impression is confirmed. It's not a download. And then the player or the application will play the content as done until now. So in on demand we only deliver the ad, we don't deliver the content since the ad is delivered separately. So, well, I don't know if you have more questions or where do you like to start with streaming or also with podcast? What's more important for you? Sorry? Yeah, that can be done. Just let's speak with Oscar for the proposal so that well we have the proposal and the contract following that, since the product for podcast is different than the product for streaming. So that can, I mean, we need to have an agreement for that. But also just take in mind that for podcast will not be monetized in aggregators. Sorry, will not be monetized in A2X. So for podcast, it's you who need to sell that content. Yes, actually, I'll yes, you can do streaming and yes, yes, two different things. Yes, for podcast, if the podcasts which are downloaded, which are shared by us, yes, we will count the impressions. I'm let sorry, the downloads. Let me show you an example. This is a podcast. So in a podcast, for example, we will show how many downloads there were for that podcast. So you can see here each day we deliver the downloads per day. You will see that there are two different metrics, downloads and unique downloads. The difference is that most aggregators, iTunes, etc., in some cases they launch a download without the user clicking on anything. So we get the download request, but we don't know if there was an user doing it. So what we do, what we do is giving two figures, downloads and unique downloads. So in we take the downloads and we filter out the downloads which are done from the same IP by the same user agent the same day for the same episode. Exactly, exactly. Yes, but we also use user agent for that. So that's quite accurate. It follows the standards in the industry, and the difference between downloads and unique downloads we see in our system, it's quite similar to the ones that other systems are giving. So this way of measuring is good. And yes, this is closer to human behavior. So these days, for this specific podcast, there were 16,000 downloads, human downloads, let's say, and there were a total of 29,000. And well, we will provide the info on the last episodes of a podcast, which ones were the most popular. We delivered these two figures also by country, by region too, by user agent, etc. And again, you can export this information and well, do your own calculations using Excel sheets, etc. And yes, this is for podcasts, the ones that are served by us. If you use tap on demand, which is the way of using tap, which only delivers an ad and not content, if we don't deliver that content, we cannot measure that content. So, well, that's normal. We only measure in podcast, we only measure the content we serve. Okay. Mm. Yeah. Okay, I'll ask Oscar since I'm not sure if the podcasts are part of his proposal, so I'm going to ask him. We already it is. Okay. No, that's okay. I mean, if yeah, how just for me to know, you know how many podcasts they have, how many shows? Okay, 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 good. Well, that's okay. So, well, just discuss with them this, and well, let's keep working on this. It's important that I mean these requirements are for. I mean, the document you showed me are for streaming. For podcast, the integration which needs to be is different one, so we will need to discuss with them well the required integration for us to deliver ads within the podcast. So, well, will be yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay. So I'm not sure podcasts are there, so I'll ask him. I'll write an email over the one we have. Okay, I'll ask him. Yes. Yes, I'll explain you. What we do is let me show you a specific example, okay? Uh, let me just show you something. For podcast, what we do is let me see if I can. Well, actually, the way podcasts work is well two different ways. Okay, one is RSS feed. So RSS feed is a feed like this with the information of the different audios that aggregators out there, for example, iTunes read. So iTunes reads this file and shares the audio. For example, for this item, this is one specific audio. You see that this is an MP3. This is the audio. Oh, sorry. Yes, I thought I was showing it to you. Let me share it again. Okay, can you see it? Okay, so basically what we do is this is an RSS feed, okay? Usually podcasts are read by aggregators by using RSS feeds like this. So this is a list of the different audios. One of the information is the URL of the audio. So you see for this one, for example, this is an MP3. So basically what we do is you see that this is an MP3 that it's an audio. If you see the URL, it's a Triton digital URL. So what we do is the request from iTunes, for example, is down to us. So we pick the original file, the original audio without ads from the publisher CMS. And then we stitch the ads and we serve it. So we can say that we are a layer over the publisher. We are a layer over the publisher CMS. I can send you I can send you some diagram. You know, in this case for podcast is this one. As you see, this is the URL I explained. So what we do is the aggregator reads this, so asks us for the audio, and we do is we ask for the original podcast to the publisher preferred CMS. We get it, and we stitch ads from tab. So then we take the original podcast and we stitch ads, pre-roll, mid-rolls, and post-rolls, and we serve it. I can send you, yeah, I can send you this so that you can have it. Okay, I mean, in their podcasts, more or less how many of them. I mean, what's more important for them, if aggregators such as iTunes, for example, or the consumption of the podcasts within their website. You have an idea? Okay, then in that case, we have two options. One is this one I just showed you, but what we can also do, because in this way, what we cannot do is connecting to A2X. If we stitch ads, we cannot connect to A2X. So if the more important for them is their websites and applications, we should do the on-demand. So in on-demand, basically, their website or the application will ask us for an ad. We will serve that ad, and that's all. And then they will play their content from their CMS. So if they want to have a pre-roll, for example, before their on-demand content, that's the way. They'll do that integration, and then they'll play their content. Yes, it can be done. I mean, it can be done that for their products, we use the on-demand integration, let's say the online integration, and that we do the integration for aggregators of stitch ads. Yes, that's something that can be done. Okay, perfect. I'll ask Oscar about this, about if the proposal only includes streaming or it also includes podcast. And maybe if he needs some more info, he will let you know. And well, let's keep discussing also with him. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Edzai. I'll send you these diagrams. Okay, right now. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Bye bye.